Yeah, I'm not good at this game. Yeah, y'all see that? Don't be like me. Get better.
Yeah, I know. This character's awesome. Alright. Oh.
Two stock.
Two stock!
All right, YouTube. I have literally lost like 57 games in a row against this guy. And look at that beautiful lag. I'm sure the pro Smash community would love me and this lag right now. Look at the punishes.
It was 56. Because remember, you won that one game with the
I did win that one game, didn't I?
Fuck. All right,
that stupid substitute.
No!
Go play X and Y. Overrated.
Okay, you know, I think I'm going to, and it's going to be incredibly easy. That game.
You know what?
Jesus.
You should go write the poison type video.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. Actually, it's due tomorrow. Oh God. But first, there's a knock on the door. Give me a second. I gotta answer that. All right. Oh God!
Hey man, you good?
It's Swallow! It's Swallow, Mystic! The Swallow! Ah, God! We brought the Squawkabillies!
Ryder? Are you there? Hello? Huh, I got a Discord DM. Well. Oh, boy. Yeah, we probably shouldn't have, angered that Swallow. This is looking pretty bad right now. Oh boy. You know, I think we need to get this video to 1,000 likes, guys. If we can get the video to 1,000 likes, it'll save my writer's life. Please like the video. Alright, so turns out I'm writing this one. Unfortunately, that time where my writer had told Swallow to cope, maul, seethe, and cry turned out pretty well, and he got jumped by the normal flying gang. So I'm gonna be writing this video, and hopefully not paying his hospital bills. Anyways, I need to get right on this one, and everyone who has seen my underrated type videos knows the drill by now. And that, my friends, is why I want to start the list with not just a poison type, but a bug type too, mostly out of respect for a fallen comrade. So, Ahriados. Am I right? I really liked the niche it had in Gen 4 Ubers. Like, seriously. It was really sick to see it used as a means to beat Darkrai leads back in the day. Insomnia let it avoid Darkrai's sleeping move, and it could deal super effective damage with X-Scissor. Tack on a Focus Sash to make sure it always lives the Dark Pulse, Shadow Sneak for priority, and access to Toxic Spikes in case you successfully called out a Darkrai switch, and it definitely had its place in the tier. Sure, it hasn't done anything since then, and is universally considered a bad Pokemon, but I think the niche it had in Gen 4 Ubers makes it one of the universally greatest bad Pokemon to ever live, and I think that we should talk about it more often in these types of discussions. Although, man, putting it here means that I can't put it in a potential underrated bug video. I'm not gonna come out and say that I've always found Garboater to be some fascinating Pokemon, or that I've always thought it was better than people made it out to be. I'm also not gonna act like I was always a fan of its design, and that I liked this Pokemon before it was cool or anything like that. This is a design and concept that had to grow on me, and it took a while for me to really care about it. It grew on me in the earlier gens, but it took me until Sword and Shield to actually say I really cared for Garboater. It was only after I saw Oleana hug the thing before sending it out to fight you in its Gigantamax form, being her ace behind all the conventionally beautiful Pokemon she wielded. It tugged my heartstrings a bit, and it definitely made me care more about this trainer and her Pokemon than I would have otherwise. Now, in terms of Garboater itself, I think there's still plenty of potential for it. at the very least in the lower tiers. It has 2 weaknesses in total, which makes it a bit bulkier than one would think, and that also makes it a really good user of the ability Weak Armor and the item weakness policy to make it a sweeper of sorts. If that's not your style, there's Spike Setting or a Toxic set with Protect, Black Sludge, and Pain Split to work with. There's also hypothetically the Stench set, with Automize in mind to boost your speed, and then to throw attacks out, hoping to flinch the target if you couldn't get a KO if you're feeling really cheeky. Run this if you feel like experimenting in lower tiers of play. Alright, this has been a long time coming. I was gonna have to talk about Rose Raid eventually, especially since some of the peeps in the comment section have asked why I never brought it up sooner. Look. There's a time and place for everything, and now is that time. Rose Raid is very underrated, even sometimes underrated by me. It's got solid speed, special attack, and special defense, and it can play a solid blend of offense and defense with its hazard moves, sleep powder, and attacking moves like Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam, and its stabs. Natural Cure and Technician are both very interesting abilities, although the latter only really works with Hidden Power. Funny enough, it hit me in Draft League once. Hidden Power Rock with the Choice Scarf to destroy my Mega Charizard Y is something that still haunts me to this day. Don't get me wrong, due to its physical fragility and arguably poor typing for what it's trying to do, hold it back. And I don't see it making much use of Weather Ball, all things considered. But it's not inherently a bad Pokemon. It's just one with a niche set of stats and is hard to use. And if played incorrectly, will come up just short of KOs on the offensive side, even with 125 special attack. Base 90's speed doesn't help either when a lot of threats nowadays are faster than it. I know I was dogging Toxl in another video, and I'm still going to hold that belief that Toxtricity is bad in a playthrough compared to the various other options that one has access to. However, in terms of being a competitive Pokemon, at the very least in specifically Generation 9, I actually think it's a pretty good Pokemon. I consider it to be an honorary normal type of sorts, because setting up with speed with Automize and then using your Throat Spray on a Terra Normal Boom Burst to knock out a weakened enemy, and also getting a special attack buff, is one of my favorite strategies to use in the lower tiers. Of course, that's not all it can do. That's just my favorite set. It's also got Toxic, Thunder Wave, and Toxic Spikes for support, and it's also got Hex and Venoshock to complement its status moves if you really want to go that route when logging on to play some RU. I really like using this in lower tier matches because it's got some fun options to work with, even if I will default to yelling at the top of my lungs most of the time. Mystic, what are you smoking? There is no way that Tentacruel is underrated. You have to be capping, trolling, or bamboozling with this take. I'm sure you're saying that to yourself, as I am now putting a Gen 1 Pokemon in an underrated video who happened to get an entire episode dedicated to it. With it, of course, being a giant kaiju, and it's in the most iconic Pokemon opening of all time. To which I'm gonna say, while most of those are excellent things going for it, I want you to tell me when the last time Tentacruel has had any semblance of relevance. I haven't seen Tentacruel in anything for eons. Yep, Toadskull and Toadscruel are homages to it, but unlike Diglett and Dugtrio, who got to be in Paldea, I haven't seen any sightings of these two at all. I haven't even gotten to go jellyfishing with Patrick in this gen. Even when it was around, no one was using it, which I think is weird myself. It's got a base 100 speed tier, is a rapid spinner, and had Scald in Gen 8, yet nothing ever came from it. Clearly, it's because power creep, but I think that Tentacruel was better than people made it out to be. The key word is think. I'm at the very least surprised that no one ever tried to use it as an answer to Landorus Therian, given it could rapid spin away hazards, as well as threaten any non-Scarf Lando with a KO. It also had the special defense to stomach a hit from Blacephalon and threaten it with a water move, and should have also had solid matchups versus Heatran and Tapu Fini. Then again, this is all speculation and semantics. I just think there was potential here, and we never saw it come to light. Personally, I blame the base 80 special attack stat. Yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this entry. Quiver Dance and Tinted Lens to ignore resistances is about as good as it gets, really. Venomoth is one of those Pokemon that's gotten better with time, and also happens to be the catalyst for one of Brock's many interesting lines in the show. So why is it here? Because despite all of its excellent qualities, not only have I just not talked about it in recent times, outside of Nuzlocke and Kanto with my best team for it, it also wasn't in Sword and Shield. And in Generation 9, it really hasn't done anything. Another big issue with Venomoth is that due to all the bug poison competition, it doesn't stick out. Beedrill is iconic for its Mega, Dustox is iconic for being bad, Scolipede is awesome, Ahriados sucks, except for the one time it didn't, and then there's just Venomoth, who sits perfectly in the middle. To be quite honest, due to its overall lack of presence in Scarlet and Violet, when discussing it with the writer before the tragic incident, he had completely forgotten it was in the game. We laughed it off and then began to realize just how bad Venomoth truly has it. Did you guys know that Frostmoth is an RU while Venomoth is an NUBL Pokemon? It's getting power crept by Frostmoth. Like, wow. I think that Toxicroak has to be one of the most interesting Pokemon in Generation 4 for me. And no, this is not the last wish from my writer to put it in the video, because it happens that frogs are one of his favorite animals, and have some of his favorite Pokemon. I'm saying this because I think that Toxicroak has had some very interesting competitive history that I want to lightly dig into. Mostly in any generation where it's in the game, and Rain is relevant, it will either pop up to beat Rain, or it will pop up to join the Rain onslaught. Dry Skin giving it healing in the Rain, alongside moves such as Swords Dance, Gunk Shot, Drain Punch, and Sucker Punch, or just close combat if you aren't a Drain Punch guy, has made it very interesting on specifically Rain teams. Being able to support Rain by healing in it, and also having a good matchup versus Tyranitar is excellent. Being able to be used on teams to beat Rain by absorbing their water attacks with it is also very cool. It's just a shame that its low stat pool makes it hard to use, and in terms of screen presence, it's outshunned by Croagunk. Not only did Croagunk get to be an assistant Pokken, but it's also become a full-on character in it too. Yep. Sure, Toxicroak got some attention by being on Marnie's team, but other than that, and it being on Saturn's team in Gen 4, I don't remember it amounting to much in the games. However, every time I go to mess around with a team of only frogs, this is the first Pokemon I will slot on. Honestly though, I feel bad that Psychic Terrain happened to it. It can't use Sucker Punch safely anymore thanks to Tapu Lele and Indeedee popping up and indirectly messing with its viability. This is gonna be another it's a good hazard setter type of Pokemon, since I'm talking specifically about Quillfish, the Johto version. The Hisuian version just came out, and Overqwil is kind of a menace, so they don't need to take up time in this video. So why is this Pokemon here outside of the fact that it's a hazard setter? Because that's all anyone ever talks about with it anymore, and I want to say that there's more to it than just being a hazard setter. But what else could there be? It's not a good swift swimmer due to fierce competition, and Intimidate is probably its only good ability. Okay, that's cool. But I want you to hear me out for just a second. Its design is very, very funny. Look at it. It's a pufferfish with big lips, and I think it's pretty comical. He looks so silly and derpy, and I find myself giggling when I look at it. Also, I like that they're lore accurate with it, and they give it access to Thunderwave, because if a pufferfish stings you, it can paralyze you. It's a cute detail. God, I love Dr. Drrapion. I think this is one of the coolest Pokemon ever created. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mystic, is this because you love dark types? Because that's kind of your thing. To which I will simply plead the fifth, and direct you over to some of the other stuff I love about it. Drrapion has this strangely reliable set of stats that make it consistent across the board. It has solid hit taking and okay speed, although I wish it was slightly better so I didn't have to think about Rose Raid every time I looked at that base 90. And I find it to have excellent utility. You need to break stall, taunt, and knock off. You need to prevent setup, Whirlwind. You need to get hazards up, toxic spikes. You want to run all 4 of these in the same set with the physically defensive spread and black sludge to cover all your bases? Well, that's completely reliable, and it's amazing roll compression. It's also got Swords Dance and Leech Seed to keep it healthy, while it tries to go for a powerful sweep using Knockoff and Poison Jab. And it's got unique coverage like Fire Fang, Brick Break, Rock Slide, and Earthquake. It's got amazing utility and solid attacking power, and you can mix and match these. It's got amazing roll compression and a perfect blend of offense and defense. I love this Pokemon. Dishonorable mentions. Dustox and Swalot are not underrated. They are perfectly rated and both get the amount of attention and love they deserve, especially since Dustox was part of Jesse's team. Anywho, on the number 1. Look, Poison and Dragon has always been a pretty fire typing. Just ask Naganadel and Eternatus. Personally, however, I love Dragalgee myself. I love its ability to both wall on the special side with its solid defensive typing, and also hit extremely hard with adaptability Draco Meteor and Sludge Waves. Everything about this mon has always felt really good to me. Sure, it's slow, but that can be worked around with proper play and potential Trick Room setup. But it doesn't feel like a death sentence when you can threaten massive damage yourself, or even OHKO something outright. It's also got good coverage with Thunderbolt and Hydro Pump just in case. Sure, it's flawed and it's definitely a more lower tier mon, but that hasn't stopped it from being useful when needed. Be it White Herb, Choice Specs, Life Orb, or even Black Sludge as its held item, it will always find a use on a proper team by a proper player. And that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. That, and I really like how it and Skrelp have that cool Delmice synergy and how they team up to be a problem. It's such a cool Pokemon. And that's it. As I should have said before, make sure to like this video by the way. Normally I don't push for likes, but if I don't hit that goal, who the heck knows what Swellow could be planning next? I need to save my rider after all. While I wait for the results, what type do you guys want to see next? Do I go ahead and do Bug next, or is there something else you want instead? Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, I'm gonna cool off with some Diet Dr. Skrelp and try to negotiate with Swellow.